Hey guys, it is Ben, aka the Fusebox. It is time for another episode of Fusebox Engaged. And for today's episode, I have got on an awesome creator who is knocking it out the park right now on Indiegogo. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Chris Fisk.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Thank you. Now, Chris Fisk, are you related at all to Wilson Fisk?
If you ask him, he'll say, I'm not related to that asshole.
You know.
Yeah, he and my dad went to University of New Hampshire. And
Okay.
yeah, and Pudge was asked that question once, and that was his answer. So I will respect his wishes and say, I'm not related to that.
So you do have mob ties.
Bada bing, bada boom.
So yeah, I have been following you on X for a long time.
Ooh.
And I remember, I've always been, like, my eye always goes to that elven character of yours.
Oh, yeah, Queen Aisling here?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's something about her that lures me in.
Oh yeah, yeah. She's it's funny because she starts off as the pretty people with problems, and she kind of gets put through the ringer. So it's one of those like you kind of want to see her fail, and then when she succeeds, you kind of want to see her succeed too. Hopefully.
That's interesting. And it's nice and mysterious.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about you, because I don't know too much about you.
All right. Let's see. I was born in a small New England town in Massachusetts. No, just kidding. I'm from New Hampshire. I was a video game designer for about a decade.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's quite the industry that we're seeing kind of souffle right at the moment. Kind of glad I got out. I made Infinitale Chronicles, or I should say Infinitale, the tabletop role-playing game, back in 1990, because my high school treated its students like criminals. Like, we weren't allowed to graduate unless we had community service hours.
Oh, wow.
It was freaky. But the librarian, this gorgeous lady that, like, I was a teenager and I'm like, wow, I've never seen hot librarians before. I think I'm going to the library more. She kind of took me under her wing, and she's like, that ain't right what they're doing. I'll tell you what, I'll cut you a deal if you babysit the community kids that come in here, keep them occupied, keep them out of trouble. I'll give you whatever community service hours you need. And she totally upheld her end of the bargain as I beta tested with these with these kids to make a tabletop role-playing game. And after I graduated high school, I went off to university. Then I, got into the working world, kind of put away the whole fantasy role-playing stuff for years and years and years. Went off to California, Australia, Japan, and then finally, after I left the industry and came back to New England, I was feeling a little kind of creatively constipated. I was like, I'm not doing something creative anymore. Maybe I can release the tabletop game on like Kickstarter or something. And I was talking to a couple of my friends that are, still in the gaming industry. And they're like, dude, I don't know, man, it's cutthroat. Like, you're going to be up against some fierce competition. And we got to talking like, well, how could I do something a little different? Like, how can I get people jazzed up about a role-playing game system that, it's unproven, nobody's ever seen it, whatever. And the talking got to World of Warcraft, and they're like, well, why were people so jazzed about World of Warcraft before the game even launched? And it's because they had so many like games and books and all this other material that they already knew what the world was. They just were waiting to jump into it. So I thought, okay, I can make like screenplays, I can make animations in Flash, whatever. Did the whole, eyes bigger than the mouth kind of thing. And I finally settled on the comic stuff. And at the time, I had no idea what I was doing. I gave my screenplay to a guy in California, and he's like, yeah, I can't work with this. Like, we're gonna have to convert all of this into something that's legible for a comic book artist. Because if you hand this to a comic book artist, they're not gonna make your book. So
yeah,
spent about a year going through that. And then lo and behold, I met some artists, got together, and bam, we crowdfunded the first book in 2021. And here we are 4 years later with a gargantuan second book. so that's me.
Well, hell yeah. I mean, good Lord. So like you said you worked on video games. Any titles we would know?
So here's the kicker. I got doxxed because this was like about maybe a year ago or whatever, when Assassin's Creed Shadows was launched or was announced. I worked for a company that was contracted out by Ubisoft to work on like mobile games. And the way that Ubisoft works is if you're working on an Assassin's Creed game, you better understand the entire chronology of the Assassin's Creed like timeline, like where the characters were. You can't create anachronisms, all this stuff. So I worked on this mobile game heavily involved with the narrative team over at Ubisoft. And it kind of sucked. It failed, whatever. But my big kind of pride for it was that, they shipped us out to Japan. And, we used that time to go visit like Shinto shrines, various temples, get all the information we can about the Japanese Sengoku Jidai, which is like the Warring States period of Japan. When it's like its biggest historical kind of events. And we wrote up a nice narrative or whatever, got it all passed through guys at Ubisoft or whatever, and then came out on the mobile game. The mobile game like crapped out, like it tanked. And I thought, because we were working through all of that chronology, making sure that, it was canonized, making sure it was all legit, that I was like, wow, that's my dent in the industry. That's my little piece that I left behind. And then when, like last year or whatever, when they announced Assassin's Creed Shadows, and they're like, yeah, this is our Sengoku era Japan, because everybody has been clamoring for ninjas in Assassin's Creed since it launched, basically. And and I'm like, okay, well, this is gonna be sweet if they use the stuff that my team and I worked on, because we researched, like we spent a lot of time and money to get faithful research that was respectful to both the culture and the history. And when I saw the trailer, and I just like, it felt like a fat kid chasing an ice cream truck, and when he caught up to the ice cream truck, it was just a bookmobile. But like, I was just, So I wrote this pissy Twitter post about like how I lamented like everything that I contributed to this industry is pretty much gone now, because everything that I worked on, things like Firefall from the former Blizzard guys, or Defiance, which was a TV show / video game that was on the Sci-Fi Channel for a while. Those were ones I worked on, but they're all off the air. They're all services. So I have nothing to show for it other than like a bunch of install discs that don't go anywhere and some cool promotional posters for products that don't exist anymore. So I thought, here it is. My Assassin's Creed will be my indelible mark. And, I was like, screw it. Well, since they're going with this like Yasuke thing, I'll just say what, my team and I wrote. So I blasted out this little thing, and suddenly like a whole bunch of YouTubers got a hold of it, and I got doxxed. And
God.
Yeah, like some of the YouTubers, I mad respect to like Endymion. He reached out to me and he's like, dude, I can't run a story like this with source. Trust me, bro. So I talked to him for a bit, showed him my LinkedIn stuff. He's like, okay, yeah, you're legit. I'll keep you as anonymous as possible. I'm not going to sit there and call you out or whatever. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, I'm flipping through YouTube and I see these like channels that I've never seen before recommended to me, and they're like, former lead designer on Assassin's Creed Shadows, Chris Fisk, has spills the tea on the latest on the original story. And I'm like, what the hell is this?
Oh,
and
Jesus.
my text messages blew up, my emails, I got phone calls. I have no idea who they're like, you're a freaking liar, all this stuff. I hate you, stupid racist. Like, I'm like, what? So,
oh God.
Yeah, I had to make a reply post to that, and knock on wood, I haven't gotten too many hateful death threats or whatever since. But Good God, man. That's the video game industry in a nutshell, by the way.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I miss PlayStation 1 days,
Yeah.
PlayStation 2 days.
Yeah.
I even liked PlayStation 3 days, even though those were not considered super popular.
Yeah. Yes, I don't know. 2012 for me was kind of the turning point where like I started getting soured on games. I kind of yearned for like the old retro games, you know, like the emulation
Well, like,
and stuff. Like,
for me,
I'm
it's
sorry.
that I loved. Oh no, I was just saying, like, I love how games have become more cinematic.
Mhm.
I just hate the fact that they decided to sacrifice gameplay quality and like
Yes.
difficulty.
Yes.
That
dude,
really
that's-
annoys me because it.
Yeah, like for me, like when I'm a game designer and I'm being told by my supervisor, you can't put a fail condition in your encounter. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, your encounter can't be failed. Like, but that's a game. Like you try and you fail and it resets and you go back and you do it again. You know, like
That
no,
would
no, no.
be, yeah.
Like no, you can't do that. Like, but so yeah, I started seeing that around 2012, and it's, you know, my nephew, we were playing Super Mario 3D World, and he gets the white Tanuki suit, and I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
I
it's
have
an
no
item.
idea.
So in Mario, like if you die a bunch of times, you'll suddenly get this like little power up box that appears when you restart the level, and you get it instead of like the mushroom.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a white Tanuki suit, and it makes you invincible to all enemies. Like I think you can still fall to your death, but like nothing hurts you. So he played through that. He was like, I don't know, 10, 11 years old. He's playing through that, and he ended up winning the game. And I was like, he's like, you know, Uncle Chris, I won the game, and blah blah blah. I'm like, but did you? It's like, yeah. I'm like, I looked it up, and there's no difference in endings. Like there's no like, you know. Like in Street Fighter 2 back in the day, when you tried to put it on like the 1-star challenge rating, it's like, thanks for playing. If you want to see the real ending, you know, try a harder difficulty or something, you know? And like, it doesn't do that with the white Tanuki suit. So he has this like false sense of accomplishment where it's like, I went through the whole game. I didn't even need to try really. You know, the challenges are all there. Like the bumpers on the you know, in the gutters of a bowling alley. And he won the game and got the same ending I got when I played through legitimately, and I was just like, that's not a good thing to send to, like, as a message to players.
no, yeah, they had something similar on like on Metal Gear Solid 5.
Mhm.
If you failed a mission enough times, there would be a little message that would come up, say, "Do you want to equip the chicken hat?" And the chicken hat would like basically let you like sneak around without being seen at all by anybody, but at the very least they added an element of shame to it.
Yeah. All the enemies were just pretending they don't see you.
It was that you wore a stupid looking chicken hat, and that made you, you know,
Yeah.
it was the right amount of shame.
Yeah, that's so sad. But at least you get some level of ridicule. I mean, you heard about the what they did in the latest Doom game where they like renamed the challenge things, where it was like used to be like hurt me plenty and I need a wet nurse and all that stuff, and they like renamed them.
Oh God, what were they offensive or?
Yeah, it was like they didn't want to make them edgy and offensive, so it was like, you know, light challenge, medium challenge, heavy challenge, nightmare. It's like, no.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. I don't know. I miss being able to be offended because I never was.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, slightly switching gears.
Would you like some more black pills?
So I'm getting depressed. So we're slightly switching gears. So Infinitale Chronicles.
Mhm.
This is a fantasy series.
Oh yes. Yeah. If you're a fan of Dragonlance, or you know, the Lord of the Rings, or even something like ElfQuest, it's kind of when I started you know, building the universe of Infinitale. I didn't have Google because this was built in like 1991. So I had the full range of the Pelham Public Library and made heavy use of various folkloric books like the Snorri Sturluson's Volsung Saga, which is like the Norse landing in Iceland, or the Mabinogia, which is the Welsh kind of mythology, the Kalevala, which is the Finnish mythology, a lot of Anglo-Saxon stuff in there, a lot of Irish Celtic stuff in there. Excuse me. And I just kind of, I thought, rather than ripping off Tolkien, I would like to see what Tolkien ripped off. And I kind of went in that direction. And I even looked up operas and like all this old like folklore and legends and stuff, and went, this would be really cool to play through and make stories about it. And it's got its own spin to it, so it's not like I'm directly lifting it one for one. But the idea is that there's a well-established framework underneath it all. It's not just like a lot of role-playing games. They kind of either fly by the seat of their pants, or they do like a very linear, what they call a railroad.
Yeah.
And the way that I built Infinitale, a portmanteau of like infinite and tale, kind of like the Neverending Story or EverQuest or anything like that, was the idea that when I was making this role-playing game, I wanted to differentiate it from like standard Dungeons and Dragons or Warhammer miniatures or whatever else. Like I think World of Darkness was out at the time. And what I did was I created a system where it was collaborative storytelling, and the players didn't even realize they were part of the story. As far as they were concerned, they were playing. They were given a character, and the way that the mechanics worked is it incentivized them to act in the world, and it wasn't like a bunch of creepy theater kids or whatever. Because again, I had to, I had to keep 10-year-olds, like kids that were bouncing off the walls, climbing the shelves. I had to keep them interested. So the mechanics revolved around rewarding you for paying attention and rewarding you for being that character. And it got kind of scary at points because I had parents come in and say that like when they were explaining what they did at the library that afternoon, they would say like, I did this and I did that. And it's like, no, they didn't do that. Their character did that. We were playing a game. Oh.
My son tells me he was engaged in necromancy.
Yeah. I don't feel safe with Billy going to the library anymore. He told me that he defiled several corpses and committed goblin genocide.
See, I am a huge Tolkien fan. And I'm also working on a mythology for a fantasy story.
Oh, nice.
And I'm pretty much doing what you did, where it's like, instead of like looking to other fantasy stories, I'm looking at original myths and kind of compiling, like, mixing and matching and doing basically making it up to par to what I would want this world to be.
Nice.
And making up goofy names.
Oh my God. Speaking of names, if I could go back in time, I would not have asked my players to research Irish and Welsh names. Oh my God.
Lord.
Yeah, like what Irish and Welsh does to the Roman alphabet is like a crime against the language. Like the names are almost purely unpronounceable. So everything has like a pronunciation guide. But I wanted to be faithful to the Irish and the Welsh myths that I drew upon. In fact, the War of the Trees, is based off of the Cad Gatho, which means War of the Trees in Welsh. And there's a similar story, but not quite.
Yeah. Well, I have to bring up here. Let's see. I got to do my share screen.
Ooh.
I was very impressed with your website.
Oh,
because
thank you.
Holy crap. Like, this is fancy. The books move when I do this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess...
Oh,
I was just going to say, like, instead of just me reading it off the website, though, why don't you tell me a bit about the mythology here?
Sure. So, are you familiar with Plato's allegory of the cave?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so for the viewers who aren't, just a kind of a 10-cent description of it is basically imagine everything that you've ever known your entire life turns out to not be true. And you find out this in a very abrupt and psychologically damaging way. And yet when you bring this to others, they don't believe you. They think that, they want to be like Cypher. They know that steak is fake, but they want to stay in the Matrix. And our story starts on this world called Asperia, on the continent of Foitla, which is the known world is one gigantic continent, and it's broken out into seven sovereignties ruled by queens, and it's basically just paradise, ageless paradise. Nobody's ever ages. Nobody gets sick. Nobody knows the betrayals of disease or anything. So one day, they're the Elvar people, these eternally beautiful people, run into they're ruled by this theocracy of druids, and they're these titanic gods that are like custodians over them. And the gods watch out for them. They protect them from like the deadly fauna of the world or natural disasters, you name it. And they're generally benevolent gods until you don't do what they ask. And they generally don't ask much of their children, except for they have this thing called the harvest. And every so often, names are drawn upon a lottery, and the harvest sacrifices male members of these sovereignties. And they think, well, they're immortal. Everybody's time has to come sooner or later, so we'll just go along with it. The other thing is these people never really get pregnant or anything. They're like eternally 90210 teenagers with no consequences or responsibilities. And our story opens where Aisling here ends up getting pregnant, and she has a kid. And the birth of that kid starts spawning all these other women getting pregnant, and it's causing problems. And when the harvest or when the lottery for the harvest is called upon, her son his name is instantly called, and she's like, that's not fair. He's just a baby. He didn't even have a chance to live life yet. And the gods are like, well, you're gonna have to sacrifice him to us. And she kind of freaks out and starts having these nightmares. And these nightmares consist of this blue wisp talking to her from who knows where, and it guides her, showing her images of the destruction of her world, her lands, and all this stuff, and telling her that her salvation lies in an ancient ruins that were part of a forbidden city. The city that they can go wherever they want in their sovereignty, but just don't go to that city. And she, in her weakened state, tries to go there, and her husband says, nope, I'll do it. And he goes out there to find what this blue wisp told his, possibly crazy wife in a dream, to find her words. And he ends up going to the city and encounters some really scary stuff. A gigantic hydra, for example, kills off almost all of his soldiers. And they end up finding this temple hidden underneath one of the main structures in the city. And everybody in the temple is dead, but there's this big book there. And as soon as he picks up the book, it gets an Indiana Jones-like moment where the whole temple starts falling apart. And he escapes. And then he finds himself ambushed by an ancient enemy. And that's pretty much book one. It gets even worse from there.
So yeah, I was curious about what race they were. So I was thinking elves, but Elvar sounds much more unique.
Yeah, so the Elvar it's kind of a primordial Celtic word for elf.
Okay.
And in the actual tabletop role playing game, when it gets released, we actually never get to play as Elvar. We get to play as something that are basically the fragmented remnants of something that happened called the Schism, where all of the Elvar get basically racially blown apart, and brothers are no longer brothers, family is no longer family, and you now have like the Yahal-Safar, the Dolkafar, the Light Elves and the Dark Elves, the wild elves, the Azrai, all these different elementally kind of attuned elves. And what we're seeing here is kind of the proto elf. So this is like our genesis into the fantasy elfin race.
Nice. Are there humans in this world?
On the world of Esperia, there are no known humans. However, there were rumblings of a people called the Firbolg, who were these people that had fled the world somehow. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I love the animation, by the way, or the art style.
Oh, thanks.
I feel like it feels like a combination of America and manga.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Or as, you know, my Korean ancestry would call it the manhwa. You know, we're the Korean knockoff of manga.
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
No, I mean, it's got it looks like a unique blend between East and West.
Yeah. I'm hoping that it can appeal to both, both kind of regions, because, it's heavily influenced, obviously, by European storytelling. But like in the campaign, we're actually offering a manga edition, and I'm wondering if there will be interest in those who love Eastern kind of art and style, if they prefer that over the more traditional Western comic style.
Are you the artist?
No. Okay. That was done by Angeli Stalins, and that particular image was actually was available on a mailing list free perk. So anybody that joined the mailing list when the campaign launched, they got a bunch of links in their email, and they got this card free with their backing. And it's one of our heroes.
I'm really into this style.
Oh, sweet.
And so the Fawn, that's who you were talking about.
Yeah, so the Fawns are kind of an ancient enemy of the Elfar. They're these mangled, like, bestial creatures that the Elvar see as kind of like, beneath them. This kind of like just a trash race of creatures that, they grunt, they're dirty, all this stuff. It turns out there's a little more to that.
Well, they're the sexy ones.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'm not going to lie, Nessa here,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she...
but I was... I was disappointed when you told me that Aislinn was single. Was married.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
Well, the way the events in the book play out, maybe she, might be single soon.
Well, I think that should happen, and I think you should write a character named Ben or Fusebox, who she gets with. He's part of the ultimate Elvar.
He wants to give Aisling the superior Elvar ultimate seed.
He's the child of a god and an Elvar.
There we go.
Oh lordy. So, yes, indeed. I think let me go ahead and switch over to the campaign.
Sweet.
Let me see here. And yes, only one day, and you're already way up there.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I did not expect that, man. Like Bancroft even played the video where I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. So, yeah.
What is your secret?
I wish I knew, man. Like I honestly, like, the way that the economy is heading, or has, how everything's kind of crap right now, and then there's been a kind of a negative downturn towards indie comics and stuff. I'm like, I gotta, I don't know how well I'm gonna do. Like, I'm terrified, and there's a lot of stiff competition out there. There's some amazing indie books out there, and if you got limited money, it's like, I could either get this or I could get that, and it's like, oh man, I'm just a no name. I don't have any I have one book under my belt, but I'm like, I'm not a former pro in comics. You know, I don't have any connections in the comic world. So it's like, I was absolutely floored when Bancroft refreshed the page and it was like, congratulations, you're funded. Like, that was, wow. Yeah, that humbled me, man.
Oh, I mean, you know, I would say it is well earned because, I mean, all the artwork I've been seeing is like incredible. Like, you've got, I mean, this, and especially like the fact that you've got specialized animation just for the different sections on the Indiegogo.
Oh,
like, good lord, and oh, good lord.
Yeah, that was actually. I got that sketch from Pau Rodrigues, who is the artist over at Perfect 10 on Genuine Comics. And
yeah,
he it was one of the perks or one of the tier perks. So he gave me the sketch, and I thought, screw it, I'll color it. So I colored her, and then I put her on a 5x7 holofoil card. And anybody that's backs like the physical perk in the first 7 days of the campaign launch will get that holo card for free.
Dang. Oh man, and you got action figures?
Well, I got some nylon filament statues. I got a glow in the dark water leaper, which is based off of Welsh mythology, and then that's Nessa back there as a paint kit. She comes with all the paints, the brushes, and everything, and a little mixing guide.
Good lord. And I'm guessing she is introduced in issue 2.
Well, she doesn't have a speaking part in issue 1, and she barely has a speaking part in issue 2 because she doesn't speak very much. She kind of was a traumatized. Something happened when she was a kid, and yeah, she doesn't speak much. So she was in book 1, but blinking you'd miss her.
I mean, I can understand. You want to be vague because you don't want to give things away. You know? That's always the annoying part.
Yeah,
that you desperately want to tell people everything, but you're like,
dude, yeah, I have 10 books already like written out, like already converted to the comic script and everything, and it was a matter of chopping these things up into manageable book sizes.
Yeah, that is the most aggravating part for me. Like, how long are each book?
So book 1 clocks in at about 54 pages, and book 2. Okay, here's a surprise one for you. Book 2 was originally supposed to be 60 pages. I sent it out to my proofreaders, who they read it and they're like, yeah, you know, some of them are like, it's lacking something. I don't like the pacing. And, you know, I've had some proofreaders say, dude, like, it's great, but it doesn't have a fulfilling kind of stopping point. So I went back into my, 10 book thing and started pulling out other sections and mix and matching them and making the pacing a little better. And it went from 60 pages to 120. So book 2 is 120 pages.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are the 3 editions.
Yeah, I was looking at the campaign earlier, and I noticed the alternate art edition, which intrigued me.
Oh, yeah.
So you've got a different artist to do their own version of the book.
Yep. Yeah, see, there's the explanation of the books. And if you click those buttons, you can actually get a free preview and you can download it.
Oh, my lord.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't. I feel like I shouldn't do it for the stream because everybody's got to buy the book.
Yeah. I had somebody ask me like, dude, where are the examples of the interior art pages on your campaign? And I was like, why not I just give you a free preview of the book instead? So you get like I think it's like 15 pages for free. If you click on it, it'll open it up and you can actually flip it like a book, in a new tab, or you can just download it as a PDF.
Okay, you mind if I show a little bit of it?
Oh no, you show it all. This is totally free. Like, people can grab it.
Oops, sorry, Karina. She gets jealous when I'm paying attention to something that isn't her. So
Oh yeah.
stop, little girl. Hold on. Let me. Here we go. Good Lord. So yeah, this is the ultimate. Oh man, how are you doing these animations?
It's all about the Java.
Good Lord. I
Yep,
gotta. I have. You're gonna need to like teach me everything because I don't know anything about coding and programming.
Yeah, that's my day job. I'm a UX designer for a cybersecurity company.
Oh damn.
Yeah. I went from a video game designer to cybersecurity.
God, the art is just great on this.
So here is the alternate art edition. This is done by a new art team, a husband and wife team of Eduardo and Michaela, or Barbusco Studios. And
I think I've heard of them.
yeah. Oh, dude, they're great to work with. So again, this is just the alternate art edition. The standard edition was done by the original art team. So you can see this art. If you like this art style better, you can go this route. Or if you like the standard edition using the original art team from the first book, you can go that route. Or you could even go to the manga edition, which is just Antonio from the first team. He and I made the black and white version of the manga. And and what I'm trying to do, the reason why I have these three different editions is so that I'm trying to look for basically the future of Infinitale Chronicles. Like what gets the most love, i.e. what gets backed the most during this campaign, will be the art style, and basically that'll be the direction that I go with the books moving forward.
I mean, that is an awesome strategy, and I mean,
yeah, manga's a little different. You got to read it from right to left.
I see.
Yeah, so
you went full on legit.
Oh, so that. Yeah, so it's all the dialogue is in English. All of the like onomatopoeia and sound effects are in Japanese, so it gives you that authentic kind of manga feel.
Wow.
And yeah, here we get to see a little bit of when I was explaining about Nessa's trauma. This preview shows a little bit of her past and why she's kind of messed up.
With the three idols.
Yep.
Oh wow, I like those eyes.
Yeah.
I just like it gives you that feeling like this is a different species. Like,
oh yeah. She's got the superior peripheral vision.
I've always had a thing for like, this kind of style where like the different species, they got, how do I put this? It's like they look like the different species look attractive, but at the same time, it's like you can tell they're distinct from humans.
Yep.
And I think there's kind of, so do the Faun, do they have like hooves?
The fawns do have hooves. Yes, they're kind of
fawns.
Yep, so the fawns belong to a race of beings called the satyrs, and the satyrs are broken down into fawns and centaurs and other kind of animal hybrid people.
I see what you did there. I know my Greek mythology.
Yeah. Yeah, the Elvar called them Cernuti, which means the horned ones.
Okay. Yeah, I can. So you made fawns, satyrs, and centaurs. You made them all variants of the same species.
Yep. Yeah, in book 3, if we meet that stretch goal, book 3, you'll see when the fawns and the centaurs kind of united in an alliance and sacked a Elvar city.
Ooh.
Yeah. They're kind of nasty.
So they're the tribal folk. Yep.
Yeah, and the Elvar see them as kind of barely a step up from animals. They're very uncouth, very savage, and
yeah, they
have a bit of a disdain for them.
All right, we need racism in our books.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, we never shied away from that back in the 90s. It was it's not. I'm not glorifying it. I'm just saying, like,
No, yeah,
it
it's your
exists, you know.
yeah. It the best fantasies are the ones that have sort of a grounding in some sort of realism. Meaning, like, you'll have like magic, you'll have different species and all that, but it's like there's a grounded reality that people can kind of relate to. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah. So this is the same exact story as what you saw in the alternate art edition. It's just done by the original art team.
Nice. That's a baby.
Yeah. That's a screaming baby.
So yeah, you say they don't really reproduce almost at all?
Yeah, it's a very, very rare thing. And as soon as she had this kid, all of a sudden, all these other like female Elvar started getting pregnant across her sovereignty, and it's causing problems.
So she made it popular.
Yeah, she's the hipster pregnant birther or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, she. Yeah, I mean, in that preview, we see that she thinks that her husband died in that first book, and so she's kind of schemes with the midwife to swap her baby out for a defective baby, so that her baby can go live a full life in this village that the defective baby was from, and they can sacrifice the defective baby.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, and on top of that, when you find out what what the defect is, it's like, that's it? And the kid was just born with something called heterochromia, where one eye was like blue and the other eye is green. And like, apparently the elves are so vain because, they basically lived in 90210 for so long that any kind of defect is considered, disgusting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're a bit vain.
I like that. Because, elves are always, like, especially in, like, the Lord of the Rings movies, they came off as kind of pompous.
Yeah.
Which is fine, like, if you know the books of, like, the Silmarillion and all,
yep.
The elves, like, most of the elves, with, like, a few notable exceptions, like, they come off as very divine and very earthy and, like, love existence, love nature, love everybody. And then, like, when you get to the movies of Lord of the Rings, they're kind of assholes.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Yeah, and that's kind of what we did in this as well, is like, these people are kind of disconnected from their own heritage, and there's a reason for that, because they were being curated by gods essentially, and it turns out the gods might not be true, and that's why the first book is called Second Genesis, because they learned what their true origins are.
So the gods aren't real?
The gods are real, they're just might not be gods. And yeah, if you're familiar with Irish mythology, there's a race of giants called the Fovera, or the Fomorians, and that's these titanic overlords that have been lording over the Elfar, keeping them, basically in check, and harvesting them every so often.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Why are they harvesting them?
Oh, they're eating them.
Oh no.
Yeah, they're keeping the populations down. They're eating them.
So they're almost like the 3 crones from the Witcher series.
Yeah. Yeah, what was that, the Black Baron storyline?
Yeah, the Bloody Baron.
Oh, the Bloody Baron, there we go, yeah. The botchling thing.
Yeah, and the 3 crones were, that's more Polish mythology kind of, but yeah, they're basically your typical stereotypical wicked witches, like luring kids into the swamp with treats and then eating them.
Yeah, these gods essentially have basically held these people down, kept them at bay, and they're like, look, we've given you eternal life, we've kept you free from all the dangers in the outside world. Like, fine, if you don't want us to protect you, we'll let the hydras and the other animals come in and kill you in your sleep. Fine, just do what we say, and you'll live perfectly. So there's
with a few exceptions of people who will be eaten.
yeah, but if you've lived for 1,000,000 years, and it's like, you know, what was that saying that Bilbo said? I feel like a piece of jam or butter.
A piece of butter, butter scraped over too much bread.
Yep. And, you know, when you have no mortality to kind of put things into perspective, you tend to lack ambition. You know, growth stops, you know.
Yeah.
And that what we're seeing is this utopia is a bit of a kind of a horror show where people never excel at anything, people never try. They're just pretty, you know, and they have no consequences. Well, now they do. Now kids are starting to come. So they're like, "Wait a minute, this isn't fair." Like, what do you mean we can't like have a rave 24/7 anymore?
Well, I mean that honestly, that sounds like my dream life, but you know, to each their own.
Yeah. And yeah, that's Pow's drawing of Aisling.
Well, I mean, I definitely want to get a hold of this book. I gotta wait a little while because I'm poor, so I gotta wait for my next paycheck. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna be back in this because
sweet.
I really love this art style. Like I've missed, like this is the kind of fantasy art that I wanted to see. Because like a lot of fantasy stories I see, it's like the art styles are a little rough, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, you know, like I think a lot of people like that. It's just for me, I love that whole blending kind of the style of like manga with a little bit with some that American detail put in. I know that's vague as hell because I'm a writer and I don't know jack about art, but you know, like
well, I mean, a lot of this is a love letter to the old fantasy that I enjoyed as a kid. You know, the '80s and '90s. Like, I mean, it's kind of like with anime. Like, I love old school anime, but most modern anime, like everything after Cowboy Bebop, kind of like it's not my thing. Like,
I would agree with that.
So I'm hoping that you know, there's people out there that you know, can remember when fantasy wasn't like about proms or about going to dinner parties, you know, and it was adventure. Like, you know, I mean, this is basically a story of the gods telling this mother, you know, like, what is it? The what's stronger, a mother's right or the god's might, you know, like basically telling her like, you know, you're going to give us your kid. And she's like, hell no. And her entire world comes crumbling down just because she made that one act of defiance.
Oh boy. See, I love I especially love origin stories in fantasy. I think that's why like that the Silmarillion's my favorite book of all time because it's essentially the book of, you know, it's essentially the first few books of the Bible for Middle Earth. And that sounds like this is kind of what this is.
Yeah, it's weird because when we played the games, the stories are out of order. When I started Infinitale back in 1991, we were playing after this era in the history. It wasn't fleshed out because I'm a firm believer that world building should always be in service of the story and not the other way around. Like, you don't want to bore your audience with, you know, forcing them to read a history book on a made up world. Like, yes, there needs to be a story hook for that. And the actual tabletop role playing game doesn't even take place on the world of Vesperia. It takes place on a world called Monadea, which is a world of men. And it's kind of a almost like Warcraft, where you've got this invasion of magic being infiltrating a world of like mundane, like of the natural world essentially, and it's set in almost like a early Dark Ages. So, you know, which side would you want to succeed? The magic and mythology of the elves, or the Fae, which is a combination of the elves, the fauns, these creatures called the Wason, or the Leoni, which are these like I don't want to give away too much, but anyways, a whole bunch of these like really weird fantasy races versus
I'm
a race of men.
I have to say, wait. So this is all in your mythology?
Yep.
So first of all, I have to ask, the Leonai,
Mhm.
are they lion people?
Yes.
Good. I love lion people.
They were built for war. They were the Battleborn. The same way that the Fawns were experiments, where these perversions of animals and Elvar making these weird creatures. The gods, or the Fovra in this case, crafted these beings called the Leonai, which are almost, I wouldn't say it's bipolarism brought to the nth degree, but there are these two conflicting forces that exist in all of them, and that's their primal rage versus their inner tranquility.
Oh, so, God, I love that.
Yeah, like, these things were born for battle, and yet some of them are these amazing philosophers. So
oh, that is awesome.
Sweet.
So there are going to be humans.
Oh, yeah. Especially, so the War of the Trees is a 10-book series, which is about the world of Asperia and the elves. And there is another 10-book series called The Empires of Ruin, which is about the story of men and their origins on the world of Munadea. And then the tabletop role-playing game is when these two worlds converge.
Ooh, boy. Yeah, I am currently in my mythology. Like, I went through all of the early stuff with the gods and everything being set up, and I've just gotten to the birth of humanity.
Ooh.
But yeah, mine is very different from yours because I don't really have elven races and all that stuff going on. I have slightly similar types of creatures, but not really.
Are they pointy-eared?
There's one that technically are, but they're not really. Like, in my story, fairies are, there's very, very few of them. They're, like, incredibly rare.
Oh.
Because the idea is they're the children of a specific god and goddess.
Oh.
And they will, like, the idea is that they're pretty much considered to be myths. Because, like, almost nobody ever sees them. And the few that do, like, they have been known to interbreed rarely with humans. Because they're only female. And so, and when they do, that's when you got this hybrid race called sprites.
Oh. Well, that works.
That's just a little, that's a little tidbit, but I can't give away too much. Because I haven't announced the story and all that yet.
If you want, I can kind of show you what the playable races are in the Infinitale role-playing game. I can just share it on my stream.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's see. All right, there we are. So if you see me, my
Ooh.
So these are the Elvar that have it's basically the remnants of the Elvar post the schism. And you've got the light elves, the dark elves, the wild elves, the aquatic elves, and these unfortunate bastards, the goblins. And the goblins are kind of a tragic race because what caused the schism kind of fused them with all the other races and made a kind of a mess of a race. And they're the product of interbreeding between other races. So a half elf that is born is kind of a mark of shame because it runs the risk of creating goblins, and there's a higher likelihood of getting goblins than getting a half elf or one of the other elfin races, like an aquatic elf and a wild elf, having a kid. If they produce goblins, they're often like insane and violent and all this other stuff. But if you notice, there's this weird like silhouette behind the goblin. And in the game, there are race skills that you can pump points into. And part of those points through the race skills is turning a hobgoblin, which is the natural state of the goblin race, and it's very sickly and all this other stuff, into a kobold or into an ogre, and through a process called the Hamask, which here's a
Oh man.
So we don't have orcs in this world, but we have something very similar. So players who choose the hobgoblins.
Even the monster races are sexy.
Death by snoo. And it's funny too because we had a player that played a goblin, but they chose a racial trait called Darkling, which made their skin turn gray, and they were never able to transcend their hobgoblin form, but it gave them a lot of power in magic. So they were an extremely powerful, what they call a magus, a spellcaster essentially. But he always lacked the physical kind of strength that the larger ogre forms and the mutations bring, because in the goblin cultures, might makes right. So they're very boorish, very domineering. So yeah, and if you want to see you want to see the female versions of all the races, here we are. So
always.
Yeah. So
now I have to say that I have a in my mythology, I have a race that is very similar in concept to what you've got with the aquatic elves.
Oh, the Azrai.
So I'm gonna have to do some tweaking.
Well, yeah. So that's just the elves. On the world of Monadea, the other world, the world that we don't see or I should say that you don't see it so far in the story of the War of the Trees. The world of men. There's men, and they have their own sub-races or their own kind of ethnic breakdowns of the men of the kingdom, the barbarians, the free men, the imperial men, and then the shadow men. And these were the first men, essentially, who were basically kind of conquered by the free men in this empire that was overthrown. And when the race of the elves came in and caused all sorts of chaos, the shadow men basically have reclaimed their former glory, and they're master spellcasters. So as many of the other races are kind of shackled by a lot of the kind of the rules and regulations of how magic is to be used, the Nabari here are like, screw you, we'll do whatever we want. And as a result, they're the most powerful when it comes to spellcasting. And then we have the Wee folk. So there's the kingdom of Sindrahar, which is the dwarves, the mountainous people. They're obsessed with oaths and keeping promises and all that stuff. Yes. And they're very rigid, very ornery at times, but at the same time, they're the most loyal people you'll ever meet. In fact, during a major war between the elves and the humans, or the elves and men, the dwarves sided with men because of old promises, something called the Iron Pact, where they basically said, fine, we'll fight the elves alongside you, and they ended up becoming mortal enemies. And then we have this other race. Like, I didn't want to use the hobbits, I didn't want to use gnomes or any of that stuff. So I looked into Scandinavian mythology, and we have the Tomtar or the Tomte. And remember the old story of the cobbler and the elves? Where the
very vaguely.
Yeah, every night the shoemaker would go to sleep, and every night the elves would come out and build shoes. And then when the shoemaker would awaken in the morning, there would be like thousands of shoes made. And the shoemaker and his wife were like amazed because it was a miracle or whatever. And then it turns out that is I believe it's a Swedish story, and the real translation is Tomte, not elf. And the Tomte, or the Tomtar plural, are these diminutive wee folk like people. They have the kind of like pointed ears of the elves, but they're more closely related to the wee folk. And we learn more about the Tomtar in the War of the Trees, because that's not their only name. And then on the other side, we have the satyrs, like Nessa. Well, this isn't Nessa, but female satyr, and then or fawns, and then the Vesen, or the Leoni.
Yeah.
And I don't think I showed the male side, so Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
So yeah, and so we have the kind of the
Yes.
the Beastmen. They have a in this one appears almost if you notice some of his aesthetic is kind of similar to the people of the free or the freemen, the Shinari. And the reason for that is when they entered the world of Monadea, they kind of abandoned their own like the Fae. They obviously didn't get along with the elves because the whole "we created you for war" kind of thing. And it's not that they're unfriendly with the other Fae races, but they prefer to be left alone, trapped in their own chaos of that nth degree bipolarism.
Yeah.
So it's one minute they could tear you apart, and the next minute they could wax philosophical on you. So
yes, indeed. Good
the
Lord.
gladiators. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's and then I don't think I have anything else in here. Just the where's it? The old book covers here. So here's the Fae again, or the Elvar, and we see the Underrock on this druid, surrounded by her. There's like a high druid or whatever, surrounded by her subjects, and we have this giant eagle. I can't remember what the eagle's called, but it's based on the Irish mythology, and they're basically like the druids' means of traveling across the seven sovereignties.
Nice. She can subjugate me anytime.
And here's a dwarf facing down. It's called the last battle. All of his men have fallen, and he's the last one, and he's being taunted by the Wolf Riders, the Unseelie, the Dolkafar Dark Elves. Give up! We can make this easy or make it hard. I choose the latter. And he's got his axe, and he's about to take as many of them to hell with him as he can.
Yes.
And then this is a cover for. Oops! Whoa. Did not let me.
It's a cover for Adobe Photoshop.
Yeah. So this is the. I don't know why it was a different format, but this was a piece that I had commissioned because this is representative of the players in the Pelham Public Library when we first built the game. So here's the conference table that we sat at, the dice and the figures on the map, and these are some of the characters that were in the story. And there's me as the dungeon master, or as we call it in Infinitales, the narrator, running the game.
So one of the children was actually a beast person?
Wait, one of the which children?
The ones that from your original group.
Oh yeah. So yeah, one of them played Leoni, and
they played as I thought they were an actual. Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes they come in and they don't shower. There was a.
That was a lame joke. I apologize. It's late in the day.
It's okay. I got it. I'm a little slow on the uptick sometimes.
No, it was not one of my best.
Yeah, but,
take full responsibility.
Do I have anything else about the game on here? Got some of the classes. Like there's a female dwarf berserker. There's a ogre berserker, and then a dwarf berserker male.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Or the death by snoo berserker.
Yes. No, I mean like the animation for all the characters, like it's just perfect to me.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
It looked like it's nice and colorful and it's fun. Like I could see this being like an actual like TV series.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be the ultimate goal someday, is to see the Infinitale Chronicles or the War of the Trees or whatever.
Like just these images alone trump every animated series that's come out in the last like 20 years.
Wow. Yeah, and that's the thing, is these are all like, I'm trying to trying to bring back the old like the '90s like.
It's like this is like Disney if Disney wasn't horrible.
Yeah. I kind of want to put that as a bullet point on the back of the box. It's like Infinitale, like Disney, if Disney wasn't horrible. the one of the classes in the game, the Explorer, it's kind of like a pirate / mercantile class. They're all about traveling and conveyance. And
I do have a thing about pirates.
Yar! And yeah, I don't know. Like, hopefully someday we'll get the we'll get the game out. But first, I want to make sure there's some interest, and that's what we're kind of trying to do with the comic here. We've got. Let's see if I have some comic art to show up in here. Here we are. Let's see. Maybe some concept art. Yeah, so we've got Queen Aisling here. That was her original concept of her. We actually have a nice little standee of this on the campaign as well. And then Kaelin, her king consort husband. Darwin, who's Kaelin's friend and a loyal soldier.
When you say consort,
mm-hmm.
is he like her live-in hoe?
Yeah, he's the pool boy. Because in the Elvar society, it's matriarchal, and women hold all the power, or females hold all the power. And even though like he can't, he's called a king, but he's technically a king consort, so he doesn't have the same power as the queen. And
okay.
Yeah, and he's in charge of their military. And
yeah, he's got my dream job, is what you're telling me.
yeah, he's got the hottie on the side, And one thing you might notice is they're all barefoot. And the reason for that is because in Elvar Elvar society, like they want to feel connected to the ground, like a plant, like a tree, and they can tell a lot about a location just by its soil. And that's why they avoid like deserts. So any kind of dead or arid land where nothing grows, and they tend to not want to be there. And that includes like harsh, rocky terrain and stuff like that. So again, they've grown up in a perfect utopia where they've never really encountered true hardships. So a lot of their architecture and fashion, and even their arms and armor, are built on this idea that they would only fight or whatever on their terms. And we find later on this obviously has to change when they leave kind of their safety of the sovereignties that they were in. And then here's Galinar, the head chieftain of the Fawns. And then here is one of the cheat sheets that I sent to our interior art team when we were working on the first book. So there you see Aisling and pregnant Aisling, the fluorite emeralds that they use for their jewelry, the clethef or elfin double sword that they use, the weirin or elfin dagger, and notice there's no iron, there's no ferrous metals, and there's no silver in this world. So, and there's a reason for that, because those are nasty to the Fae. So, yeah. There's something called argent toxicity, which in the game mechanics, if any of the Fae are struck by a weapon made of silver, the weapon inflicts a poison on them.
So now we know their weakness.
Yeah, that's one of their weaknesses, yeah. Iron.
So now we can exploit this.
Yes, but they have their own, like humans have their own weaknesses as well. And it's kind of scary when these two people are pushed to to their brinks, and they do a lot of stupid and dangerous and desperate things, and a lot of people get hurt.
I mean, my weakness is Aelin, so I mean,
yeah. Well, actually, there's also Aoife. Aoife is another character. Oops, that's
hello.
Yeah, yeah. That's she's kind of a. And then there's Bob or Bide.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then Deirdre, and then there's Nessa, uh, Onan, and I think that's it. Yeah, those are just the concepts for those characters in book 2. We got the map. Yeah, this is some of my old cheap sheet stuff, and then some of the comic book covers. So this was the cover of the original standard edition for book 1, and it's sold out. So we will never see this again on a cover. It's done.
Damn.
And then this is a variant of book 1's cover done by Genzo Man, and this is also available on the second on the campaign. I have some leftover variant covers from book 1. So if you want the first printing of book 1, you can back it on that campaign. And then here's the cover by Michelle Hefner, which is another variant of book 1's cover.
And that, of course, that image of her is the one that I know the most because I've seen it on your X account.
Yeah.
Whenever I see the retweets,
Yeah.
I'm always seeing that face.
Yep. That's I've been using that now for about 5 years.
I know it well.
Yeah, here's the so this is the Amazon edition cover. So what this means is once the campaign is successfully funded, it's guaranteed to have a retail edition release, meaning that I'm not going to go into in demand. I'm not going to be forced to hold inventory or any of that stuff. Instead, what happens is once the crowdfunding campaign is over, I fulfill all of the books, make sure everybody gets their books, and then I release a retail edition, which I wouldn't say it's like crappier version, but you're not going to get any of the other perks. Yeah, there's like the interior covers are white. There's no interior cover printing. There's a little bit of things changed here and there, but this was from Nalia Hale. This, if you go on Amazon, you can get the Amazon edition of book 1, which is the second printing of book 1. So there's a little bit of changes compared to what you can find in the first edition here for the first print. And then, is that it? Yeah, so that's book 1. And then book 2, we have, I don't have any of the other covers. So this is what is on the slipcase. If you back, there's a one of the bundles is the 2-book bundles, which includes both the standard edition and the alternate art edition, and they all come in a slipcase, so they're bundled together, and you get this really cool image from Clark Ocliso of a pivotal scene where Aisling here isn't having a good day.
I mean, it's a good day for me, but
yeah, giggity. And then here was something that Floss Lamson had done. This is the book 2.5 cover in the standard edition. So inside the standard edition book, once you get through the originally planned pages of book 2, it moves into book 2.5. And this is the cover that you see of a very worried Aisling with a baby here in a bassinet looking at something. And there's kind of a shadow here on the floor of something that she's looking up at.
I'm enjoying the vagary.
And then here is the Amazon edition cover for book 2. So whichever version gets released, whichever one wins the backing war of those 3 editions, this will be what gets released on Amazon. And it's Darwin here with Nessa fighting some water leapers. So, yeah, that was done by Kyle Punkart. And I think that's... Oh, yeah, I've got the manga edition here. So it's Jumoku no Taisen, which is the War of the Trees in Japanese. And the image was drawn by Kevin Sharp, and it was colored by Steve Cannon. And the interiors are all line art done by Antonio Brandeo. And then I added in the shading and did some adjustments. Moved all the pages. Yeah, it was tough getting the pages to conform to manga, because it wasn't just a matter of like mirroring pages. I had to move a whole bunch of stuff around and make sure it all flowed correctly. And here is a mystery character. that I can't really talk too much about, but yeah, just a future of what things that may come for the War of the Trees. So pretty
Nice.
badass looking staff, and it's like a dragon gauntlet of some sort. And he's wearing shoes.
That's not good.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe I got some additional art. Oh yeah. Here's the original. Is it Kevin Sharp and Steve Cannon image? This is the interior of the war chest box. So if you back $25 worth or more of merchandise, it'll all be shipped to you inside of a war chest box. Basically, it's corrugated cardboard, but it's laminated, and on the inside, it's got this really cool scene here of Aisling and what they call the Wild Hunt, where they're purging their borders of these fawns. Yeah, we see Aoife here. And
The Wild Hunt.
Oh, yeah.
Are they hunting for Ciri?
Yeah. Yes, they are looking for the Witcher that's not a Witcher. And then here are the magnets. These are all 16-bit sprite art that were created by Nicotine Fist. And they all represent the 6 heroes from Book 2. We got Galinar, Darwin, Kaelin, Aisling, Aoife, and Nessa. And they're all in sprite art, and I freaking love that, because back in the day when I was, when I was working on this stuff or developing the story in the game, I was a big fan of the 16-bit era RPGs. Games like Shining Force and obviously Phantasy Star. But like, I loved that aesthetic, and I think Nicotine Fist captured that great. And they're all in these like acrylic magnets, and I don't know, it's kind of crazy. I put these rare earth magnets, adhered them to the back of the acrylics, and those things are so tough, dude. I thought I had telekinesis when I was putting them together, because as I'm like gluing them together, I'm seeing things like 6 feet away moving. So you definitely won't have, you won't have things fall off the fridge if you have if you have those magnets securing it. And then here's a piece that Romo Art did, just fan art, just totally sent me over this image. So I really liked it. It shows Aisling here with her kid fleeing at night with under Aoife's watchful eye.
We're gonna learn in book 3 that I am actually the father of that child.
Yeah. I think yes. Well, here's some more close up art or whatever of some of the characters. These are available on the in the collectible cards pack. You might get a chance. There's in the collectible cards pack series 2, you'll get the standard character and cover art cards, and there is a chance you get one of the one of these hollow foil cards that have like some cool magic runes and stuff on the back. But this is Onan, one of the characters, or one of the fawns from book 2. This is Bive. We learn more about her. She's on the back of the book. We learn more about her.
Oh man.
Yeah, she's
I'm assuming she's villainous.
Possibly.
Okay. We're doing a looks can be deceiving kind of thing.
Oh yeah. It's I mean, I don't want to do the whole, what is it, subvert expectations thing. But let's just say that not everybody is totally good and not everybody is totally bad.
Yes. One of my favorite things to do in stories these days.
Yeah, here's Galinar with the Book of Dragons, the Blue Wisp, done by Lyra Sire. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, Lyra. And then here's a kind of a double pager that I got of Deirdre after making the switcheroo with the royal baby, leaving with her wagon off to go to the village and deposit this baby where she took the other one. So, and
we've got carriage goats.
Yeah. So these are called Yales, Yale, and that's the kind of the horses of Asperia. There are no horses, nice. So the elves ride things called Yale. Later on, they have other animals, but This is definitely not Earth. Like, we've got a ringed moon here, and the sky is like kind of a pinkish or purplish shade. So yeah, there's some weird stuff going on there. Then we have Aoife here with her Talon, which is the battle harp, which is a 3-stringed bow that also has blades on the ends of its limbs. So it's functional at long range and as a good close quarters combat weapon.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Here we are with Nessa. She's got Galanar's staff. Then we got, here's a good one. It's the Sephiroth tribute to Darwin.
Now I'm really sold. I mean, yeah. I am a huge Final Fantasy VII fan. Like, 7 is my favorite game of all time. So
nice. Well, yeah. So that's definitely a Sephiroth nod there. Where he's standing in the flaming wreckage with his Clethith or Elfin double sword, and then we have Kaylin here, and
well, we can see some damn good detailing there.
Oh yeah. This was done by Claysense, also known as Vanette Cosman. She's on Twitter. This is Kaylin. He's got the Book of Dragons, and he's reclaiming his true heritage here. So, yeah.
I mean, he can try all he wants, but he's still just a hoe.
He's just a pool boy. But I think that's all I got for that. Yeah, that's all I got for that. Just the jumbo cards here. So I have a risque card. I don't know if I'll enlarge it because I don't want to get your YouTube channel.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
It's not nudity.
Curious.
All right, here it is. It's not nudity, but my buddy Din Money hooked me up here. Din's he makes he makes some saucy book games on Steam, and he did a thing of an image of Aisling here in the bathing chambers. So that's one of the secret perk cards that people on the mailing list could grab.
You came prepared. You knew what would sell me.
Yeah. Then this is the mailing list card done by Anjali Stalins here, showing looks like Nessa on a tree branch reaching up for looks like a piece of paper. Then we got MR Gun Arts. This was originally a free stretch goal on book 1, but it's now available. I have some limited quantities of this left over. So if you like the backside of Aisling here, looking at the blue wisp over her sovereignty, you can grab that. I think it's one of the jumbo holofoil cards. Here is I actually have this hanging up on my wall in black and white. This was donated originally as fan art by Nerium Nova, who is going to be an artist for me on book 3. And if I can unlock the second stretch goal, we'll basically get the first 36 pages or chapter 1 of book 3 for free. So if we can get that second stretch goal, everybody will basically get a book for free. And it's done by her. It's in black and white. But she sent me this, and I ended up scanning it in and then coloring it. And then I made a holofoil card out of it. And that's what we have here. And again, it's a crying Aisling here doing some pretty deeds born out of desperation.
Uh-oh.
And so this is what Nerium sent me. And I scanned this in. It's up on my wall right now, or the original is. And then here's what Pow sent me, and I colored it in. And the background was done by one of my concept artists of the Forbidden City, the ruins. So, and then here's another one by Pow. This is his take on Nessa, and I colored it in. So he sent me the sketch, and then I colored it in.
Oh.
Excuse me. Yeah. So those were the jumbo cards. Some of those are available for sale still. Some of them were only for the mailing list or the previous campaign. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as stuff I can show on my desktop. But yeah, I mean, if you want to check out the rest on the campaign.
Hell yes, indeed. Indeed. We gotta
totally
let's take another look. No, there's I love getting as much art as possible.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, folks, we got the 2-book bundle here, $38.
Yep.
And I mean, so you get both book 2 editions and the collector slipcase.
Yep.
Oh man, $5 digital? That is a steal.
Hell yeah. And it's done in the same format as that flipping book. You can just download the full book from there too.
Nice. And the alt manga.
Yep.
$10. Woo.
Yep. Black and white, 180 pages.
Damn, these are some great prices.
Sweet. Yeah, there's a little bundle there.
Wow.
So the value of the bundle is not only do you get the book and the trading cards together, but if you buy it in a bundle like that, you are guaranteed at least one lucky card. And the lucky cards are those hollow foil cards that I put in the foil packs.
Oh god, yeah. Got the standard $20, good stuff. And I mean, you said that thing is like almost 150 pages.
Yeah, so it's 120 pages. But if we reach the stretch goal and you get the 36-page black and white first chapter of book 3, you will get 150 pages for the price of that book right there.
God. That is, I mean, these are fantastic deals.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, get on it. Get yourself this book, because I am definitely getting this. I just gotta get paid first. But, I mean, yeah, you sold me. Like, this is the kind of fantasy I freaking love.
Awesome.
I love detailed, dense lore, and I like sexiness. Those are the biggest thing. And like, I mean, you've got enough. You've given me a lot of intriguing little hooks.
Oh,
the Child of Destiny, and Paradise Lost.
Yeah, it's a riches to rags story.
I love that. And now I gotta play the trailer.
Sweet.
Oh man, you got animation on the trailer?
Oh yeah.
Knowledge is like a seed. When sown in fertile minds, it opens doors to new possibilities. Truth, once buried by the ages, is again revealed. The unimaginable becomes demystified. New wonders are discovered that transcend the limitations of previous understanding. However, some doors should never be opened. Our tale continues with the divergent paths of our heroes. As a naive king toils with ancient powers beyond his control, a grieving queen makes a fateful decision that forever changes their world. Infinitales, the war of the truth.
Damn. Good lord.
Oh yeah.
I gotta hire you to do trailers.
Man,
wow.
Oh, thanks. Dude, that. Oof. Yeah, I had to learn I bought like those MIDI packs. I had to learn how to compose music. I'm not musically inclined, so hopefully that music did its job.
And who'd you hire to do the narration?
That's Chris Tester. He's a voice actor in film, video games. Great guy. I think you can get him on. I think he's on Fiverr actually. So yeah, give him some business if you want your trailer narrated.
Man, I got so much money to save. Good Lord. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not clicked on it yet, I have pinned the link in the live chat to this campaign. I highly recommend getting this. We want this thing to get big, because this is the kind of fantasy we need, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
We have been settling for second best for too damn long.
Yeah. No self-inserts, no prom dates, no dinner parties. You know, it's classic fantasy adventure.
What was a huge disappointment for me was War of the Rohirrim.
Oh God, the Girl Boss movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was because I liked the animation a lot. I thought it was really cool looking, and so I was checking it out. I thought Helm Hammerhand looked awesome, and then the fact that it just became all about what's her name, Hera. Yeah,
which doesn't make sense because Hera is a Greek name.
Yeah,
and the Rohirrim are Anglo. Yeah,
she never had a name in the original story.
Hence, she was just put the name up.
But it's like you can make up a name in the language of the Rohirrim. Like there's all kinds of tools available for that.
Well, like Eomer and Eowyn. Like the reason why they have Eo in their name is because it's like an equestrian society, and Eo means horse, so it's like horse lord, and I can't remember what Eowyn means, but it's like I think it means horse victory. No, horse friend Eowyn, and Eomer is like great horse or horse lord or something.
Yeah,
but Hera
that was out of left field.
Yeah,
and I clicked off of the movie when she was going up against the rabid Mumok. Because I was just like, I was trying to give it a chance, and I was getting little bits of cringe, but then there were parts where I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't, there's a little something here. And then, when she picks up the spear and is getting ready to one-shot the Mumok, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, dude, that's kind of why, like, I made this thing, too, like the Infinitales stuff. It's because all of our media is like this now, and it's so damn depressing.
Yes.
You want to give it a shot. Like every time, like I miss the days when a new movie was announced and I got excited instead of, oh boy, how are they going to screw this one up?
Yeah.
Wheel of Time there. They destroyed Wheel of Time with their feminist garbage, and the whole series went to crap, so they canceled it. And you know what the majority of replies to its cancellation were on social media? Do the same to the Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a good sign, guys.
No, Rings of Power was the biggest disappointment for me.
Yeah.
Like, of all of them, because before it ever came out, a bunch of us were speculating like that it was going to be a series about the stories in the Silmarillion.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I thought like that would be so awesome, because the Silmarillion's a compilation of different stories, so you could do like a little series about that.
Yeah,
and then they were
anthology.
And then they were like, no, we're doing our own thing. I'm like, the second they said we're making up our own story, I was like, oh god, it's gonna suck.
Yep. That, and I mean, look at the genocide they inflicted by all the melanated dwarves and elves that don't exist. Because if this takes place in the past, and then you look at the Peter Jackson films, and it's like, what happened?
Oh God, don't see. Well, yeah, I've gone into this a million times. Like, I remember I battled with people on Twitter about that, about how the thing about it is, technically, if you wanted to kind of do that, if you want to incorporate different ethnicities of the different races, you could do that if you provide an explanation for it.
Yeah. Well, what about the Southrons and was it the Zakarim or whatever?
Well, it's like, yeah, like I know like the men of the South were dark skinned. The Easterlings, you could probably say were Asian.
Yeah.
Maybe even maybe kind of a Middle Eastern, whatever. And if you wanted to do like different ethnicities of dwarf, I would say you could say that like the 7 fathers of the dwarves each represent a different ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the elves, you could say like one of the sub races that kind of split off during the original migration of Valinor. You could kind of cheat something like that, whatever. It's like, but you got to provide an actual explanation, and it's got to make sense.
Yeah.
In this world, they didn't do that. They didn't bother. They were just like,
here's your United Colors of Benetton, you know? Like,
yeah, and it was just like, where are these people coming from? Are they related to each other somehow?
Well, for me, so so I was a fan of ElfQuest back in the day, and you know, I'm not averse to black elves, you know, like Africanized or whatever elves, because like in the ElfQuest series, they're the Sun Elves, and they're totally black. Like those, there's no ifs, ands, or about it. Those are just desert-dwelling black elves. Okay,
but that's the thing. There's an explanation. They call them the Sun Elves because they're out in the sun.
Yeah, and it works. I never even crossed my mind to question it. But when I see like the Lord of the Rings, which is kind of like Tolkien's like attempt to give Britain its own mythology, its own folklore, and suddenly there are these like sub-Saharans in it, and like, so what value does melanin give to a dwarf who spends the majority of his time underground?
That was my exact thought.
You die of vitamin D deficiency.
And then and also we got black hobbits, and I'm like, that one makes no sense.
Yeah, the rural, was it the rural English are now black hobbits? And it's like, yeah, no. There were ways they could have cheated it, but they didn't bother to do any work on that. It was just, everything is just, it's like modern day America. Yeah, and it really detracts, like, it'll pull me out, and they're like, oh, you're racist. I'm like, I remember being called a white supremacist once, and I'm like, which part of that? Is it the Korean side or the Jewish side?
No, it's so true. Like, you can't comment on what you're seeing at all without it being weaponized.
Yeah. And I don't want that. Like, fantasy should, or like entertainment should be escapism. Like, you should forget about all the crap that's going on in your world, and just for a brief moment, vanish into the story and enjoy yourself, And we don't have that in our media anymore.
And for me, really, the thing I love about fantasy and what ultimately draws me to Tolkien more than most fantasies is I like detail.
Mm-hmm.
I like explanations for things. Like, I like origins. Like, okay, how did this come to be? How did these people end up like this? How did they... So on and so on.
Yeah.
And it's like, it seems like a lot of modern fantasy, they just kind of throw things out there and they're just like, yeah, we don't have an explanation for it, but we don't need one because whatever, it's fantasy.
Yeah,
and it's
dude. You nailed. Like, so when I was in the gaming industry, I knew these writers, and I called them millennial writers because, like, they only like things ironically. Like, they don't take anything seriously. And like they're like, oh, you're all uptight about it or whatever. And I'm like, dude, like if you don't love your work, if you don't like protect it like it's your baby and give a crap about every aspect of it, how do you expect your audience to geek out over it?
Exactly. And that's exactly how I feel about the most recent Marvel phase.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, even a lot of Phase 3, I felt that way, where it seemed like they were, the writers of these movies, it's like they were embarrassed to be writing superhero movies.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're going to make fun of superhero movies while we're doing a superhero movie.
Yep.
It's
Tripod land. Yep.
And so it's like, okay, so you're not taking it seriously. So we don't take it seriously. We don't get invested.
Yep.
It's like there's going to be no dramatic impact to any part of the story because you're going to undercut it with a joke that's going to wink at the camera.
Oh yeah, dude, the hipster snark and winking at the camera, like that has long since outstayed its welcome since Joss Whedon left. You know,
very much.
And yeah, like I hope in my stories, like this is gonna sound really like sadistic, but I want people to cry reading my books. Like I want emotional resonance, you know. That's
the right attitude. It's like because the thing is, you're setting a tone. And it's like you want to be consistent with that. You want to build stakes. You want to drive people's emotions.
Yeah, and there's no winking at the camera.
you can wink at the camera in stuff like in parody, like an actual that's the actual format for that. You don't say your thing is like a dramatic story and then parody in the middle of it. Like
yeah, really like. Really pulls you out when like you'll see that like what do they call it, like emotional discord, where it's like one moment you're supposed to take it seriously and then they completely defeat the whole gravity of the situation by cracking a joke and winking at the camera.
Yes, that drove me crazy, and that trend I think was started by Last Jedi.
Yeah,
because that was really that was the most jarring part of that movie for me.
Yeah, the whole your mom jokes.
Yeah. But beyond just the dated BS of the jokes and the references, it was the fact that it was like it seemed like it was going for a specific tone in a scene, and then it would quickly switch.
Yeah,
ooh. And I'm whoa, what? Where are we? Like,
yeah,
yeah. I have to stop talking about The Last Jedi. I do it a lot. It's a bad habit, but it's like, to me, it's kind of like the perfect example of, it's like the perfect combination of all of the elements that are annoying to me.
Yeah.
In modern movies.
It's
like, they set the standard.
Well, what bothers me, like, and maybe I sound like an old guy shouting at clouds here, but like a lot of the greats wrote their stories from life experience. I mean, Tolkien was in the trenches of World War I when the Silmarillion was being built.
Yeah.
You know? Hemingway was sailing across the Atlantic Ocean by himself, you know, when he wrote his greatest works, you know. F. Scott Fitzgerald, when he wrote The Great Gatsby, yeah, like he was in a crappy place, you know. And we look at like a lot of modern stories now, and a lot of writers aren't writing from experience. They're almost like Xeroxing a Xerox. Like they're looking at stories that inspired them from other media and then readapting it. And it's like you got to put yourself into it. You got to invest a little bit of your soul. Otherwise, it comes out as soulless. And
yeah,
modern media just feels very flat and soulless.
Oh, very much. And yeah, and it's that I think a lot of the writers, they don't really incorporate elements that relate to large swaths of people.
No.
They're incorporating elements that relate specifically to them, but they're kind of illogical.
Yeah.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah, we're damn these kids.
That's how I feel. I'm only 35, and yet I feel like I'm ancient because I lived through the best times of storytelling, and then I got into the worst times.
Dude, I'm in my 50s now, so yeah, I've seen a half century now of just a decline in storytelling. You know, it's like, where is our generation's Lord of the Rings?
Well, it's Infinitales.
Hopefully, you know, it's a humble beginning. It's just some dude that, you know, spent his youth researching weird stuff in a library, and you know, he's a bit of a storyteller, so why not, you know, entertaining the community kids, you know, and building a game off of them.
I mean, that's the beginning of every epic hero story.
Yeah.
From humble beginnings, he rose to the kinghood.
Well, you know, that's the thing is, like, you know, like they talk about like with indie creations and stuff, you should promote yourself and like all this stuff. And like, I don't know, like I feel bad because it's like I want to promote the work. Like I want to be like nobody wants to know anything about George R.R. Martin. You know what I mean? Like he looks like
I especially don't.
Yeah, well now after yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like it's just some fat old guy. Like I want to know about the worlds he's created, you know, or maybe Martin's a bad example, you know. But you know what I mean? Like I want to know about the written works. I don't want to know about the person so much because like in the 90s, I was a fan of the band Oasis. Hated the actual band, loved their music. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I didn't want to know about what Gallagher brother threw a scone at what stewardess on what plane. Like, you know, just, you know, like I just want to hear the next single or whatever.
Well, I mean, I totally agree with that sentiment. Like, yeah, because I've noticed, with a lot of indie books, it's like people feel like people have been having to kind of sell like their YouTube persona.
Yeah.
More, and it is annoying how it's like you really want the work to stand on its own, but
yeah,
we got to play by the rules.
I know, and it's like I went to a convention and I'm like, I gotta hire a booth babe because a fat guy in his 50s that's like, you know, breathing like a Magikarp, you know, is probably going to depress the hell out of people coming to my booth when I'm trying to sell them this epic fantasy saga, you know.
I have been on the lookout. I want to hire a woman to pretend like she is the author of Outlaw Nights.
Yes,
like a really hot woman who is, you know, she's just I wrote Outlaw Nights and I'll be the Wizard of Oz. I'll be behind the scenes pulling the strings. Nobody's heard of me. I'm fine with that.
Legion. Yeah. Like, look at all these sales I'm getting. It's all these guys trying to ask you out on a date.
Exactly. Of course, with AI now, you know, we can take advantage of that.
Oh my God. Do you remember that movie way back in the day called Simone?
I do remember hearing about it. I never saw it.
So it's basically on that premise that they used AI to create a fake actress. And because I guess the casting agent or the producer or whoever it was in danger of losing his job because he couldn't get talent. So he ended up creating this artificial one that was like artificially, like digitally put in movies and blah, 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 and all this stuff. It turned out to be like the most sought after actress, and she never existed.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
So that's gonna happen. I mean, that's kind of scary, but that Google stuff, what was it, Veo 3 or whatever they just released? That was pretty disturbing. Yeah, like you just text a prompt, like who knows, maybe my next trailer I won't have to learn After Effects and you know, how to score a trailer. I can just type in a few prompts and have Aisling walking around and talking to Kaylin or whatever. You know?
I mean, I like the way you do it better, but that's just yeah.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, it is getting to be. Oh,
whoops!
Shit! Sorry about that. I pressed the wrong button.
I was like, sorry, I didn't do it.
I was trying to. Yeah, it's getting to be about that time for us to wrap it on up.
Oh yeah.
Just real quick, I wanted to do a little shameless plug. You know, because I have to.
Yeah.
Because we are. Yeah, Outlaw Nights issue number 2. We are live.
Sweet.
We hit our funding goal, but I would like us to excel beyond.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gents, you know, this is the future. This is space pirates. This is the 31st century. This is action, an unstoppable rat race, and the story of a good man who, let's just say, becomes less than good as time goes along.
Nice.
I didn't want to give a full spiel because if you're watching this channel, you've probably heard of Outlaw Nights, but you know. Yes, indeed. We are 117% funded, 588. We can get to 1,000. We are going to be printing out some of these chibi stickers by our dear friend 6am Comics.
Nice.
They're going to come with every order. And yeah, y'all are want to get in on this because we got more issues in the making. And yeah, I mean, if you love that 90s space animes, if you loved Ocean's 11,
Oh, nice.
if you loved Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yeah.
if you loved what was the other one? If you love westerns, if you loved cyberpunk,
Yeah.
all of these combined. And yeah, I would say Outlaw Nights stands out from a lot of space stories because of the fact that this is a more character-driven story than you would expect. And there's not quite as much science fiction in it as it is just kind of action and drama, suspense, all the good stuff. But yeah, so let's push it past Super Saiyan. Let's go Super Saiyan 2.
Yeah.
All right. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been awesome learning about Infinitale.
Hell yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Had a blast.
Where can everybody find you?
Sure. Over on X, you can find me at Infinitale Comic, or you can head on over to InfinitaleChronicles.com. Over in the crowdfunding section, you can actually get a link to the campaign if you're interested in backing book 2. The website also has all the latest news, like blogs, all that stuff. So yeah, check us out at InfinitaleChronicles.com.
Hell yeah. And I am, of course, your host, Ben, aka The Fusebox. You can find me on Twitter at Fusebox7. You can also find me on Instagram at Outlaw Nights. And you can find me on Facebook under my real name, Ben Fuselier, Fuselier. If you like anything we had to say, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Be sure to hit the bell for notifications. And hell, if you didn't like anything we had to say, if for some reason this awesome, sexy artwork, you just were disgusted by it, go ahead and hit the dislike button, because whether you like us or hate us, it doesn't matter. It feeds us.
Yeah.
We thrive on it. Thank you so much for joining me once again, ladies and gentlemen, and we will talk to you all later.